How hard would you push back on the idea that the fear of public speaking does not exist, and that two, you've been fed a lie so big that A, you don't even see it because it's too big, you can't even see it, and they've drilled it so far down your mind that you've been seeing life through it ever since. Well, this video contains the master key to unlock natural confidence on stage, on camera, or in meetings, or anywhere you have to speak for the rest of your life without scripts, stress, or memorization. Let's get to it. Now, what do you mean the fear of public speaking does not exist? 75% of the world's population list this as like a big phobia. Some people would prefer to be in the casket than give the eulogy. What's wrong with you, idiot? I'm not saying it's not real and you don't feel it. I know what it feels like. Remember, I'm an ex-chronic stutterer, okay? But now I'm coach international keynote speakers, TV hosts, and national trainers. I've gone through the range. I know what it feels like to be scared, terrified, self-conscious, and all these weird feelings and forgetting your words and getting laughed at and embarrassed on stage. I know what that is. That's not what we're talking about here in this video. I've helped people from 18 to 81 years old get over stage fright. And if you just come to this camera here where the learning happens, we're just going to go over, let me tell you about this, okay? From 18 to 81 years old, I've helped people get over stage fright. And not one of them was afraid, not one, afraid of making sounds with their face. They were afraid of what might happen if they did, okay? So that's fear of embarrassment, fear of getting laughed at, fear of ridicule, fear of losing face. One of my friends, Giscard, back in New Brunswick, he would say, remember guys, when we're going somewhere, we don't go there to get laughed at. He would say it on the car again, remember guys, we're not going there to get laughed at. And then we would get to the tennis tournaments and it would say the huddle before the games, right? Guys, we didn't go all the way here to get laughed at. So of course, you don't want to put yourself in any situation that you might get laughed at. So it's not the fear of making sounds with your face. It's the fear of what the repercussions might be. So anything that threatens status. You see, public speaking is one of the highest leverage skills and strategies in the world to blow up your business, your brand, your career, everything you want to be doing. It's a natural status raiser. Now, naturally, if there's a potential for status raise, well, there's risk of going it bad. But that's all basic stuff, and I know you know that. So let me show you the master key that unlocks the biggest lie you've ever been told. So come back here on this camera here. So think of it like this. What happens for most people is they get on stage the first time at, in school or something like this. And then they get on stage and then there's socially reinforced social pressure that fear is supposed to be there. And then like a young child, oh, I got to prepare for my talk tomorrow. And the parents go, oh, I hope it's going to go well. And all the friends say, oh, I hope it's going to go. It's like a presupposition that it's going to go bad and it's dangerous before it even happens. So like starts to prepare, okay? Then goes out, does the talk, makes a fool of himself. You get out there, you say something stupid, and kids go, hey, you're stupid. Now, as a young child, you don't have yet the capacity to understand that you are not your physical body. You are not what people think of you. You just take that like a direct hit to the solar plexus, and you just cave in and dead. Sense of self is caved in like this. So then next time no, that was bad. Go live your life. Next time that happens around, you go home. I remember I did a fool of myself the last time. Let me not do this. You prepare a bit more in a stressful state, which is such a bad thing to do. You don't want to. Anyway, long story short. Then you get to the presentation again. You say something else stupid. Hey, you stupid. Sense of self caves in. Now, kind of feel like this, but now you try to start to hide it. Then you start growing up in life and thinking, I'm an idiot. I'm not good at this. When I go out on stage and speak, people make fun of me and I look like a fool and it's a terrible experience. And then you end up making choices in life that limit your income earning potential. You start deciding not to do certain things, not to go to certain events, not to raise your hand, and you leave. Like, none of my clients have said, like, the minimum is $100,000 a year left on the table by not being good at this. That's like the minimum, 6 figures a year extra that you just left there Minimum has to, if you're in like one of the 5 main countries. Okay? So you end up with a dented sense of self, kind of crooked like this through life. Of course, that's all secret. You don't say that. No, I'm good. But secretly, like the internals are all twisted and bent. And mind you, I know what that feels like internally. Externally, such word. Don't forget this, okay? I know what it feels like. I'm not putting it down. I know it's horrible. There's ways to work through this. I'm going to show you how right here. So just come back to this one here. This camera here is for you to learn, and this camera is for you to get out there, kick butt, take names, and grow your income, impact, and influence. So basically, what people do, they start with a presupposition, and this is the biggest lie. They start with, I'm not good at this. I'm crooked and bent, and the sense of self is all shrunk. And then they start to hide behind, ooh, there's this new AI software that makes slick presentations. And I'm gonna buy a logo that fits with this. So now the pin on the suit matches the slide and the logo. I got a slick presentation, and then they're hiding behind the technology, or they're hiding behind the script. So what they do is they go in presentation, they put the script right under the camera, and then they say, if I don't move my eyes too much, maybe people won't see that I'm just reading a script, and that they won't tune off. They'll be enjoying this. This is going to be great. That way I'll be sure to not make a fool of myself, because, oh no, now you see the eyes moving. There's a software that I know, the software that tracks your eyes, okay? But it's not about having a software that makes your eyes track. It's not about drinking your confidence, sniffing your confidence, smoking your confidence. It's about having real confidence from the inside. And how do you do this? Just come back here. Back in the old days, when they had a fender bender, right? When cars used to have metal fenders, okay? You go from the inside and you undent the fender. You just undent the thing. You undent the sense of self, okay? Because, by the way, no, just got to show you this before. Maybe you didn't see it. When you get all this stuff cooking up inside and you're trying to hide it with tricks and slides and technology and a bunch of stuff, you're thinking, oh, they don't see it because I'm hiding it. But everybody sees right through it. You're not fooling anybody. Everybody sees the gap there. Everybody sees that. So the way you undent this is from the inside. Internal tools, consciousness tools, emotional tools, psychological tools, spiritual tools, physical tools, not LinkedIn articles and listicles with cheap breathing tricks and power posing and faking it till you make it. Internal tools that make it so that when you remove anything that's hiding, you're back to your full sense of self. I'm not talking about becoming, oh, he's full of himself. Not full of yourself, but showing up as your full self. That's the difference. Now you keep the logos, you keep the slides, you keep the technology and everything else, and everything fits snug, and you have nothing left to hide, and everything fits like a glove. Much like when you go and work out, every clothes you wear fits you better. Kind of like that, but for confidence. Now, I don't know if you watched this as a kid, but I was growing up in the 80s, and there was a show called Family Matters, and there was a guy named Steve Urkel on that thing. A kind of a nerdy looking kid with suspenders and stuff. And as a kid, to me this was him. That was the dude himself. Then one day I saw the actor in an interview. Same age, same person, same muscles, same face, different body language, different posture, different voice, different feel, different aura, different social skills. And I was like, whoa. As a kid, I didn't know the thing about, like movies and stuff, but I was freaking out. I was like, man, this is amazing. So I forget when the show was. I was born in 78, and sometimes in my childhood I was just watching the show Family Matters. So you can check whatever the year that was playing. That was when I was in shock of, this guy is what you need to understand in your own life. If you feel like, let me just speak. So if you feel like Steve Urkel, if you're awkward on stage and on camera, that's a role you're playing. You're playing that role of a dented sense of self. That's what's going on internally. But the real you, the natural you, the full self you, is not twisted and bent. It's been beaten out of you. For example, let's just come back here for a second. Like, I still don't know what it was for me. I was a regular kid, just speaking normally. I went to the first day of school, or even preschool, I believe it was. I have a memory of bigger kids kind of either beating me up or something. I forget what I done. It's like kind of blurred. And I came back home and I stuttered for 20 years, 27 even. The body associated, make sound with face, something bad happens, better not speak again, and no sound would come out. My mom was like, no way, you're gonna stutter like this for the rest of your life. So she brought me to a ear, nose, and throat doctor. I get to the ear, nose, and throat doctor, and the person gives me a trick of, when a plane takes off, it doesn't take off all of a sudden. It goes slow in the beginning, and then it ramps up and it goes. So anyway, fast forward, I don't know, like I'm in my 40s at this time. I'm teaching this public speaking stuff. At that point, I've already helped people from 18 to 81 years old get over stage fright. I have a show that day. I'm a guitar player. So I have a show, and I'm in Montreal, and I'm thinking, I want to give back. So I go to the National Stutterers, not national, like the Quebec, like the Provincial Stutterers Association. And I'm there in the back with my guitar case, and I just want to help. So I'm listening to a guy with a lab coat, university student, is doing his thesis, and he's telling people the reason people stutter is because they have no sense of rhythm. Because when stutterers sing, they have no problem, and so because of the breath synchronization, it's going to be okay. I'm there thinking, this is the biggest load of crap I heard in my entire life. What do you mean, no rhythm? I got songs on the radio. I play drums. I can play samba. I can play songo rhythms on the drum. Boom, boom. I can play that on the drums. I've taught guitar. I've taught multiple instruments. I got rhythm. It's a thing. You're telling me I stuttered 20 some years of my life because I got no rhythm? Because we've done a test where you have to play a rhythm and then you have to play it back. And if they were off by more than X milliseconds, well, they were kind of had more. I'm thinking, this is just the biggest load of crap. But they're buying it. So now I get lucky. This guy, turns out, I was seated at his table. So he finishes his talk. He comes back here. I don't say anything to humiliate the guy. I don't want to be an asshole. So I just tell him politely, hey, man, you might want to check your studies because I'm an extraordinary stutterer and I got rhythm, and you might want to go back and look at that thing. Anyway, later on that day, I speak with one of the ORL doctors that's there. And I just got to tell you something before you're thinking, well, you don't understand, you're insensitive. Okay. There's nothing wrong with the voice box of a stutterer. And basically, a stutterer is nothing but stage fright on steroids. Okay. So if you're just like a regular person, regular stage fright person, you just have stage fright. That's normal, more for most people. A stutterer would love to even get to stage fright. He's below there. So there's a thing called the presence scale, the consciousness scale, or like a confidence scale. So on the bottom of the scale, you got the stutterer, which is big. It doesn't even register on the scale. And then the step one is a regular self-conscious, terrified person. Above that, you have what we call employee of the month confidence. That's a kind of confidence that's dangerous on stage because now you have something to prove, chip on the shoulder, and if anyone looks at you with just like a little wink, or anyone looks at you any bit funny, you lose it. Because your confidence at that level depends on what they think of you, which is a bad place to have your confidence in. It's called self-confidence, not what other people think of you confidence. Okay? Then when you get above that, you have what we call executive of the year confidence. That's a pretty good one because you got nothing to prove. You feel confident about yourself, your track record, and you can speak with authority. People believe you when you speak. You can even start to make sales, but there's no magic yet. There's no like charisma, presence, creating special moments in the crowd, transformational moments, stopping time, have people cry, sing, dance, move around, think different. Like there's none of that going on. It's just straight, you know. So that's a lot better. So executive of the year presence. And then you get at the top of the scale, rock star presence, great speakers and rock stars and stuff. So as I was speaking to the ORL doctor, I told her, I just want to thank you for the work you've been doing. And you saw me, so I was speaking with her. Just before that, I had told everyone in the room, hi, my name is Sly. I'm an extrovert stutterer. I'm here to help if I can do anything or something like that. And I felt the rage. And I remember there's an expression in French that's called "hostie," which means, yeah, screw you and your and you're like, you're healed and we're not, so you think you're better than us, huh? What's wrong with you, punk? I felt that kind of underlying rage underneath it, so I explained it wrong. So when I was speaking to the oral doctor, I was just told her, well, that didn't go well when I tried to help. Maybe it came across as condescending or something. I'm just want to here to help and let people know that there are tools that can help you speak with confidence and be at ease on stage, on camera, and in meetings. Anyway, I tell her, thank you for your service, because when I was a kid, I tell her like the plain story. And I say, I have tricks, techniques, tools that I share with you. She went like this. Stay away from me, sir. One, if it's not governmental approved or government approved, we don't touch it. We don't want to hear about it. It doesn't exist. And two, we're not in the business of making people better. We're in the business of making people feel better about themselves the way they are. Man, I'm thinking, well, that was a waste of time. Go in there. But I'm thinking, why not both? Okay, so helping people feel better about themselves exactly the way they are is great. That's called acceptance. You can't really transform something before you accept it. But just staying there is not optimal if you have goals in life and you want to go somewhere. So accept yourself the way you are, without guilt, without shame, without judgment, and use tools, techniques, strategies, and systems and tips and stuff to get better. Anyway, I just left and never came back to that particular association. If there's any other stutter association that I could be helpful to, I'd be happy to contribute any way that I can. So anyway, let's get back to our horses. So just like Steve Urkel, you are not the persona playing to be shy. You are the real actor behind it that has natural confidence. As a baby, you were not born with stage fright. You were not born with wondering, fear of what people will think and what to say. It was, you said something, things happened, and it was beaten out of you. Okay, so your natural is not that shy, caved in, self-conscious, and your natural self does not want you to limit your income, your status, your power, your money-making abilities, and everything else good that comes from getting out there, kicking butt, and taking names. All right, the natural confidence is there. And the biggest lie is that you're now trying to become confident as if the baseline reality of your existence is unconfidentness, is unconfidence. And that's the lie. The lie is, well, the presuppositional fact of life, I'm not confident. Then I'm gonna go learn a trick. Then I'm gonna read a book. Then I'm gonna do a technique. Then I'm gonna do something. By the way, last time I counted, I have 125 different ways of helping you with this. I have like a vault, transformational coaching vault. There's it's like a database. I can see the number 125 different techniques. And any one of these techniques, the baseline presupposition that I always help anyone, if you come into the academy, we have a free trial that gets you out of that rut. It's a 14-day process and you're out of there, baby. And the underlying all this is that your natural is already confident. And when you connect with that, everything else gets better in one fell swoop. You don't need to hide behind the message. You don't need to hide behind logos or faceless videos, or you don't need to limit your potential in life because the thing that's called speaking to people 30, 300, 3,000 people at a time is off limits. It can not be anymore, and you can be your full self, looking good, sounding great on stage, on camera, and in meetings. I've been Sly with nextlevelpublicspeaking.com. I make these videos to help you transform yourself and your message so you can transform others and your bank account. Godspeed.